Oh, testing. Hey, Osana. Okay, so for this video, we are moving on to the past papers of expenditure approach. Okay, so let's go to page 7 of your notes, right? Now, this is a very typical example. Okay, a little bit atypical, right? But typically, you're going to see these kind of tables in your exam when you are asked about the expenditure approach. Okay, 好嘛，好啦，now here a little bit funny. You are first given GNP at market price, and then you're given a lot of information, right? 我哋望下題目先啦。The first question here, GDP at factor cost, okay? 咦，原來佢第一件事啦，想問 GDP at factor cost 啊 okay? Now, first of all, if you look at this table, do you have all the information about CIGNX? Okay, now obviously you can see we do not know anything about G, we do not know anything about I, etc. Actually, we don't know about C as well. So how are we going to calculate GDP at factor cost? We start with GNP and market price, okay? Now, we need to use two formulas. First, remember, GNP equals to GDP plus NIA, net factor income from abroad, okay? Now here, we are given market price, this will be 100, right? What about net factor income from abroad, right? 嗱 here you see 嗱，但係呢啲又係會考題目啦，呢啲字眼好差啊，應該叫 net factor income from abroad，not net income。OK， 嗱錯啊 ，net income 呢個係 net factor income 啊。OK， 好嘛 ？So here minus 5. What does that mean? It means that our GDP at market price is 95. Okay. Now, second step, we have market price, but we are asked about the factor cost, right? So second step, market price equals to factor cost plus indirect tax minus subsidy. Okay, this is what we have, right? Now we know market price is 95. Then let's start looking. Indirect tax 25. Subsidy 35. Now, which means here will be negative 10, which means factor cost should actually be 105 here. OK， 好嘛？好，96條我哋96年第31條我哋唔好理啦。Net national product out of syllabus. Let's not deal with that. Okay, 好嘛？ So here we have a typical example. Now, what about typical examples, right? Okay, let's take a look. Typical example will look something like this, right? You are given this kind of table and you are asked to calculate GDP at factor cost, okay? 嗱，呢類 table 咧冇技巧可言嘅。All you need to do is to identify the items, which component it belongs to, right? Private consumption expenditure. What do we call this? We call this C. So this is a positive. 好啦，跟住 government consumption expenditure G. Net domestic fixed capital formation part of I. Decrease in stock or let's call it inventory. Okay, also part of I. Decrease, so this is negative. Subsidy 唔好理住 capital consumption allowance or another name is actually depreciation. Remember, also part of I. Now the question is, do we add in this 50 or do we ignore it? Remember, since this is net, it means that we need also to add back our depreciation. OK， 所以呢個係要加嘅，好嘛 ？Net export 好啦，佢計埋俾你啦。Net export will be NX, right? Plus net income from abroad. How do we use this? We use this for our GNP. 佢今次係咪問你 GNP 啊 ？No. OK， 好嘛 ？So first of all, let's calculate GDP at market price equals to CIGNX. C 400. I would be 300 plus 50 minus 70. G, right? G would be 250. Okay, 250. And then NX, yes, 300. That should give us the answer. I get 950 plus here should be 280. 1030係咪有冇計錯？唔係喎，黐線。1230, right? 係咪？1230啦。But remember this is market price. Then second formula we're going to use. Market price equals to factor cost plus indirect tax minus subsidy. 記住下係 indirect tax 啊。Here we see direct tax. So do we do anything about direct tax? No. 唔好搞佢啊。And here we have subsidy 120. So here 120. Market price here 0, right? Market price 1230. That should give us the answer of 1350. OK， 1350啦。OK， 得唔得？嗱，所以你見到啦 ，GDP when asked individually is actually not that difficult, right? But when you are asked about so many things mixed together, it can be quite complicated. 所以啦，逐步做 ，do it step by step. OK， 好嘛？好，下一條啦。DSE 題目啦，一樣。Now we are asked to calculate x here. Okay, here you are given GDP at factor cost. Now we need to reverse engineer x. Okay, 都係咁做嘅啫。Now remember, expenditure approach, we are calculating market price. Therefore, let's first of all convert factor cost into market price by market price equals to factor cost plus indirect tax minus subsidy, right? Factor cost 264. Indirect tax, let's see whether we find any. Yes, 60. Subsidy, yes, 30. That would give us the answer of 294. 原來啦，294蚊。Okay, we know at 294. Okay, 我哋查咗啲用咗先，好嘛 ？Indirect tax 用咗 ，subsidy 用咗。Now, let's do our normal step. This one, private consumption expenditure. C, net domestic fixed, part of I. Increase in inventory, part of I. 我當住加先啦，好嘛 ？Government consumption expenditure, G. Net export, NX. Okay. Depreciation, part of I. Again, right? Do we add in this 40? Remember, this is net domestic fixed capital formation. Therefore, we add in the 40. Finally, net factor income from abroad. When do we use it? We use it for GNP, which is not in our case. Okay, 陰嚟嘅啫。Therefore, second formula, our GDP equals to C plus I plus G plus NX. Here, we get 294. C will be 200. G would be 24. NX would be 10. Okay, so we get I should be should be 60, right? I should be 60. Now, let's break down this 60, okay? I can further be broken down into 40 here, right? Plus depreciation minus plus x equals to 60. Okay, and I think that should give us the answer x equals to minus 20, which would be B. 嗱，不過啦，係個差差地嘅條題目。It shouldn't use increase, right? it should use the word change in inventory. -20又 increase 咪自相矛盾咯，係咪啊？ So a little bit confusing, I think. All right, now let's move on to the next page then. Oh, we get one more question and then we can move on to the next video, right? 好嘛，照樣啦，係嘛？ You are given about GDP data, right? 好嘛？ Now this time you are asked to calculate government consumption expenditure, OK？ 嗱，即係咩意思啦 ？GDP equals to CI G N X。 我哋慢慢嚟啦。GDP it is given is 200. What about the others? Private consumption. C, this is positive. Gross domestic fixed, part of I. Change in inventory, part of I. Total export of goods 嗱，小心啲啊！佢呢個係 total export of goods. Okay, so this is export plus 80. 嗱，我哋跳少少先，因為呢個已經係 total export 啦。Therefore, domestic export, you see 70 here, right? It is also part of export. But do we need to calculate this 70? No, because total equals to domestic plus re-export. 加咗㗎啦，呢80已經喺裏，呢70喺呢80蚊裏面㗎啦。What does that mean? It means that $10 would be re-export. 已經喺裏面㗎，好嘛？ Then here, import of goods, import, right? We have M minus, right? Export of service plus and import of service minus, right? Net factor income from abroad. When do we use it? We use it for GNP, which is not the case here. Let's forget about it, right? 好啦， depreciation, part of I. Do we add in the 35? No. Already gross domestic fixed capital formation. OK， 我哋唔需要加落去啦。OK， no need。好啦，跟住 indirect business tax and subsidy. We use these two to calculate market price and factor cost, right? But you are already given GDP at market price. And remember, expenditure approach already on market price. Therefore, no need to do anything funny. C here, let's see. C should be 120. Then I would be here, 40 plus 10. No need to do anything funny. G we do not know. NX 嗱 ，NX 真係要計下啦。NX should be total export of goods, right? Total export of goods would be 80. Then export of service, 20. Minus import, 60, 30. So this is 10, this is 50, this is 120. I think G should be 20, right? I think G should be 20 to balance this equation. Okay, 好嘛? So you see, expenditure approach, very formulaic, okay? 做嚟做去三幅被嘅啫，好公式化咁去做㗎。Okay, as long as you remember the components， 係咪？即係要花啲時間啊。You need to spend some time to remember the names of the component, and you need to be very careful with gross versus net. Okay, 好嘛？都係嗰句啦。These type of question, usually they will mix in GNP and factor cost and market price. Okay, 好嘛? And that should conclude our past paper parts on expenditure approach. So next video, we are moving on to chapter 16 to talk about some other concepts related to GDP, namely real GDP, nominal GDP, etc. Okay, I'm going to see you in the next video very soon then. Bye-bye.